Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ. Happy New Year to all those who celebrate college hoops. The new season gets underway today, and CBS Sports Network will have second-ranked Houston hosting Lehigh at 8 p.m. Eastern. Let's take a look at Adam Finkelstein's top 10 entering the college season. Curious to ask if there's anyone that can get to that Cooper Flag tier in this class, which has some familiar names, at least with a family like Boozer, or the number one player in Kansas and Darryn Peterson. Let's bring in Adam Finkelstein, and I only ask because I think the last time you and I were together, the Mavericks were on the precipice of taking Cooper Flag top overall. Is there going to be a Cooper Flag level type player that arguably, Adam, that we're going to be talking about from start to finish?
Well, I think there may be three of them. And while I think Cooper would be the best of the bunch in this class, and he was in this class at one point before his reclassification in high school, AJ Dybantsa, Darryn Peterson, Cameron Boozer, that is the big three of this draft cycle. It has been those three guys since high school. It will be those three guys throughout the course of this season. And I expect all three will really generate the type of significant buzz that Cooper had last year. And it's going to be an exciting draft cycle because these three prospects are not just going to be, really followed closely by fans, but NBA scouts and executives are very excited about what they could be, both in the short term and in the long run.
Okay. We will talk about some of them here in this segment here. And let's start with Houston, which we have on CBS Sports Network. Outside of their big man, which we'll break down separately, Kelvin Sampson bringing back some of the players, some guys thought to have been in last year's draft. Just give me the lowdown of how this Cougs team is going to be loaded this year.
So you've got JoJo Tugler inside, and what I will tell you about JoJo Tugler is this. He's got about a 1 foot differential between his height and his wingspan. So just absolutely massive 7'6" wingspan. I think he's the best interior defender in the country. It was no surprise Houston had the best defense in the country last year. They're a little younger this year, so Tugler will have to be just as good and really control the action defensively. But the difference for Houston last season compared to years past was that they were a far better three-point shooting. They were number 3 overall in the country last year, and comparatively speaking, they hadn't finished in the top 100 since 2018. Now, that came down to their backcourt. That was Manny Sharp and Milos Uzan, who transferred in from Oklahoma. Uzan, like Tugler, I think is on my draft board to start this season. 6'4" point guard, but Sharp is another big weapon from behind the arc. So those three players are going to be the veterans. They're going to be the leaders. None of them are going to be talked about unless there's some big surprises as lottery candidates or anything like that. But they're the types of players who could really drive winning at the college level and then find their way onto an NBA roster next year and maybe be better sooner than most people may expect.
And there will be a player who could potentially be a top 10 pick, according to your board, Chris Cenac, who has already told 24/7 Sports he wants to win Freshman of the Year, he wants to win defensive accolades, eventually he wants to win National Player of the Year. Adam, what type of skill set does he possess to allow himself to be fairly bullish on that front?
Yeah, that was bold. He's got tremendous talent. I mean, he's 6'11", he's got long arms, he's athletic, and he's skilled. So there's two-way versatility. But I'm going to be honest with you, Tommy, there was a little bit of a disconnect in high school at times between his potential and his production. The motor wasn't quite as consistent as it needed to be. The offensive decision-making wasn't quite as consistent as it needed to be. Now, the hope and belief is that Kelvin Sampson could be an immediate remedy for some of those problems. I mean, you don't pick Houston unless you are willing to buy into the way Coach Sampson wants to play. If Cenac does that, if he embraces everything that Sampson is preaching, he's got a chance to really skyrocket up this draft board. But I want to be very clear. There are a wide array of possible outcomes for this guy because there is such a gap between his production to date and his level of potential. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens for him over the course of the next 4 or 5 months.
Let's get to a couple players you said could be a Cooper Flag tier, and that's Darryn Peterson at KU. He caught up with our Gary Parrish at Media Days. GP asking him, you get comps to Kobe, D Rose. It's quite the list there. What interests you most about him entering this season?
I think Darryn Peterson is maybe the best shot-creating guard that we've seen domestically in several draft cycles. We're talking about someone who's 6'5" without shoes on, put the high tops on him, and he's 6'6". He's got a 6'10" wingspan. He's strong, he's physical, and he's a multi-level scoring and playmaking threat. This is someone who can get his own shot off at multiple levels and have it be almost effortless at times. His passing has come a long, long way. Bill Self has said he is the best freshman he's ever had, and this is a guy who's coached players like Andrew Wiggins and Joel Embiid. So Self is going to put that ball in Darryn Peterson's hands. He's going to have a chance to prove that he is the #1 prospect in this draft. Remember, he finished as the #1 prospect in last year's recruiting class, jumping up above AJ Dybantsa at the very last cycle after winning MVP of the McDonald's All-American game. NBA scouts are absolutely bullish on this Kansas guard.
All right, they've got Green Bay at Allen Fieldhouse. You mentioned Dybantsa. Give me the scouting report, the lowdown there.
6'9", 7-foot wingspan, athletic, and has this type of elasticity and bend to his body that most people just can't contemplate. It can't be taught. He's also got this ability to create his own shot at virtually any time. He's a versatile scoring threat, but can rise and fire on demand. He's got this patented mid-range game. Now, I will tell you this, Tommy. He was the runaway favorite to be the #1 prospect in the class a year ago. He was working out with NBA All-Stars. It was all over social media. But I thought his senior season, there was a plateau there. It became almost more of a show than a competition. He needs to get back into proving himself. All the reports out of BYU have been very strong so far. I think KY could be the exact right coach for him, but he's got a big test, not just tonight, but coming up this weekend against North Carolina. And let's be very clear, he's got a chance, a very good chance, to earn back that #1 pick.
2025 FIBA U19 World Cup MVP. It's part of the Vegas game in Villanova out in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. And it's the same one that's going to also have Florida and Arizona. What type of NBA talent will we see on that court tonight?
Arizona's got a pair of freshmen to keep an eye on, Koa Pete, Braden Burries. They were both 5-star prospects. Both going to be interesting guys to monitor this year, could potentially start. I don't know that they'll be focal points, but have a chance to play their way into first-round contention. Conversely, Florida, you've got Alex Condon, a versatile 7-foot big man on both ends of the floor. You got Boogie Fland, who's coming over from Arkansas, where he starred for John Calipari and then hit the portal on the last day allowed. Terrific blend of speed and skill. And then maybe my favorite, Thomas Hawk. This is someone who really has had an ideal 2 years, maximizing his potential. 6'9". He can play the 4. He can play the 3. He's athletic above the rim. He can shoot threes. He's versatile defensively. This is another exciting Florida team, and this is an absolutely loaded game tonight on night 1 of college basketball.
And then let's talk about Auburn, who begins life without Bruce Pearl. There will be a Pearl on the sidelines here. Who are they led by, and a key player to look out for?
So Tahad Pettiford is the name that everybody is talking about coming into the season. He went through the draft process last year, ended up withdrawing, coming back to Auburn. But this has been a challenging offseason. He was charged with a DUI over the summer, and then, of course, Coach Pearl announces his retirement just about a month ago. The 2 exhibition games have been rough outings for Pettiford, so he's really looking to get things going again, establish himself as the focal point of this team. He's undersized by NBA standards, but he's got a ton of sheer game. The other name I would tell you at Auburn, Keyshawn Hall, the UCF transfer, big lefty wing. He's got a chance to play his way up draft boards as well. I think they will be the dominant duo for Stephen Pearl in his first year at the helm of the Auburn program.
All right, that's a look at tonight's action on the court. Adam, great stuff as always. Looking forward to another fun season of college hoops. There it is, music back. CBS Sports Network, as we talked about, a stacked and loaded Go Cougs team hosting Lehigh at the Fertitta Center at 8 Eastern.